Again, for the record, Kelly Gunn, staff. Before you is Senate Bill 5847, an act relating to providing information to public service employees about the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. For background, the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program is a federal program which allows those with certain qualifying student loans that are employed full-time in a public service job and who have made 120 qualifying payments to get their student loans forgiven. Under federal rules for the program, full-time is defined as either the employer's definition of full-time or 30 hours per week, whichever is more. A public service employer includes government organizations at any level and 501c3 not-for-profit organizations. To receive PSLF, a person must submit a form to the U.S. Department of Education and have their public service employment certified by their employer. So the bill before you requires the student loan advocate, that's within the Student Achievement Council, to develop materials to increase awareness of PSLF to public service employees in the state. Materials must include, at minimum, a standardized letter summarizing PSLF, a detailed fact sheet with certain relevant contact information for PSLF, and a document with frequently asked questions. The advocate must also coordinate with Office of Financial Management and other public service employer entities to ensure materials are received annually. Public service employers must provide PSLF materials created by the advocate to all employees annually and new employees within 30 days of employment. The bill before you also requires OFM to develop a program for state agencies and public service employers to certify employment for the purposes of PSLF. And lastly, for the purposes, again, of qualifying for PSLF, part-time academic employees' additional duties outside of contractually assigned in-class teaching hours must be included by their employers. And to calculate this, the bill has each hour of in-class teaching multiplied by 3.35 hours. This shall not supersede any calculation or adjustment established by collective bargaining. A fiscal note was requested but was not available in time for this hearing. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Are there any questions on this bill briefing for staff? Seeing none, Senator Elias, please speak to your bill.
Thank you, Chair Randall, and thanks for hearing these great ideas all in one day. I really appreciate it. This bill comes to us from the AFT Washington advocates for particularly our community college faculty, and it raises a broader issue of the import of the public service loan forgiveness program to both recruiting folks into state government service and then helping our employees navigate the process. Now, I'm proud to say that the changes made by the Biden administration have led to more people qualifying, including your very own Senator Elias, who got his federal loans forgiven in November under the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. So I'm very grateful for this program, but I also had a chance as an individual to navigate the process, which is if you've had multiple public employers, you have to today kind of individually track them down. Now, I was lucky that my employers were the Senate, where I currently work, and the House of Representatives, which is just on the other side of the Capitol, so I could track them down. But for folks who have worked perhaps at multiple levels of government or have worked in multiple state agencies, as we see, tracking down and getting that verification can be complicated. So this bill asks OFM to create sort of a one-stop shop for folks in state government to get their employment verified. And then for our adjunct faculty, I know this as adjunct faculty myself, that the hours I spend in the classroom are not the whole time I spend working for that institution. And so we looked nationally at what other states have done and found this definition of 3.35 hours outside the classroom for every hour in. And we want to make it standard across the state. So no matter what college you've been an adjunct at, you'll get the same amount of public service loan forgiveness credit for the time you're working. So we want to provide consistency. We want to provide a one-stop shop, and then ultimately have the student loan advocate share this information, because it's in our best interest as Washington state government to get as many people qualified for this loan forgiveness as possible. We want to expedite this. We know nationally Americans owe nearly $2 trillion in student debt. In Washington state, it is $27.4 billion that our Washingtonians owe today. Programs like the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program are a great way to help relieve folks of this debt, and we should just make it as easy as possible for them to qualify under the new rules. That's what this bill will accomplish. commend it to you for your consideration. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Senator Leas, for not giving up on student loan reform after you finally got yours paid off. I'm glad that you have used your lessons to bring us good policy.
I still owe my private loans, so I still got some work to go, but this was a good step forward for me.
Well, congratulations. Are there any questions for the prime sponsor? No, seeing none, Senator Nobles, please call up folks to testify.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to call Jake Heare, Natalie Simmons, Hayen Park, and Mahim Lakhani.
Let's see. Next, we have Jake, I think, to speak. Oh, there we go.
Oh, okay. Zoom decided to just switch settings on me. So sorry. Hello, my name is Jake Heare. I'm a biology adjunct with Green River College. I'm a relatively new faculty member. I'm 35 years old and I've just got into the teaching game. And I have a couple of notes that I'd like to just make about this. I have 4 major points that I think are really important about 5847. First is the fact that it increases access to the information about the public student loan forgiveness program. Having been in or around colleges for most of my career, especially since 2007 when the program was introduced, this has been like a closely guarded secret and hard to actually find information on how to complete. This bill that you guys have proposed here is going to help immensely improve the openness and accessibility for faculty members and people who would need this. Second, the adjunct in-class multiplier that is being used is amazing. Most new faculty come in as adjuncts and they will be adjuncts for most of the 10 years required for this student loan forgiveness. During that time, if their number or their time isn't multiplied, again, just like Natalie said, it's incredibly hard for them to ever meet the requirements for the program. The other thing is this treats adjunct employees just like it would any other public service employee, like a fireman, a police officer, or anything like that. Even though we are technically part-time, I work full-time. It just doesn't represent in the numbers I see on my paycheck. Then the third thing I want to point out is it increases the viability of the teaching profession for college graduates. A lot of many or recent future graduates avoid going into higher ed because they believe that they will never actually be able to pay off their student loans with the career pay that they get from those jobs. This bill does a lot to help with providing a way to make teaching an accessible job. And then lastly, it helps retain qualified instructors and incentivize graduates into the public sector and reduces the economic stress of the lifetime debt that's saddled with student loans. As someone who's found their calling in higher education, I can understand the fight between income and passion, and this bill creates avenues to help passionate educators to continue providing quality education without fear of looming eternal debt. So for the people who educate our future generations, this bill helps make sure that they have a future themselves. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jake.